There's one feature on the Apple Watch that's gotten me to switch. As a longtime Garmin user, I've been wearing a Garmin for about 20 years now, but now I wear my Apple Watch Ultra 2 24/7, and that is the 24/7 fall detection. Now, this is a setting you can enable for your watch, and what will happen is if the watch detects a fall, like you have a heart attack and you fall to the ground, or a stroke, or maybe you're out hiking and a rock falls from a switchback above you and hits you on the head, you're unconscious, you can't call 911. If this detects a fall, it will call 911 for you.
The owner of the Apple Watch has experienced a hard fall and is not responding to their watch. Their location is 33.7764 north, minus 117.6033 west.
If your watch has cellular, it will use the watch. If the phone is with you, it can fall back to the phone's cellular connection. It can even fall back to the phone's satellite connection if your iPhone is satellite enabled, which is incredible, right? Because then if you do get hit by a rock in the middle of nowhere, maybe your iPhone will send a text message out to emergency services with your position that a fall occurred. And if you think you have to point the phone around, that's for an optimal connection. You don't necessarily have to point it. I've tried it many times with it laying flat on the ground, and it does work. It just takes a little bit longer to get a message out. Now, everyone has different priorities when it comes to a watch that they're going to wear 24/7. But for me, I've not been able to find another Garmin type watch that replicates what the Apple Watch does with the 24/7 fall detection. Garmin has a version of it called Incident Detection. It only works using certain activities. And Garmin explicitly states in their documentation that it does not contact emergency services. Instead, it will contact an emergency contact that you set up beforehand. And if they are off the grid or can't respond, then you are out of luck. For example, my wife travels for work. If she's on a plane for 3 or 4 hours and I get hit by a car, she doesn't get the message for 4 hours. That could be the difference between life and death. So that's why I wear this Apple Watch Ultra 2. Now, I did a whole video that dives a lot deeper on this and goes into the documentation. So if you want to know all the ins and outs of that, I'll put a link to that under this video. And since I did that video, a few 911 operators reached out to me and said, Chris, we get a ton of false alarms on the Apple Watch. Most of the time, it's people falling because they're drunk. But we do get legitimate emergencies on the Apple Watch, and we would rather deal with the false alarms and save some lives than not have this feature at all. So for me, it's what I wear. There are other advantages I found to wearing my Apple Watch all the time, and there's definitely advantages to wearing the Garmin. It's a dilemma. I've worn both of these at the same time for probably a couple years now before I just switched exclusively to the Apple. And I'll make a more in-depth video on that comparison. I'm going to wait until the new Apple Watch comes out, I think in September probably. But there's things that just go beyond, like, the Garmin has a better battery. This is a sports watch and this is a smartwatch. There are things, most people just want to wear one watch, right? Obviously, I could just tell you go buy 2 different watches and wear this one when you do a long hike or do an ultra run or something. But having worn both of these basically at the same time for about 2 years, they both have their highs and lows, but the Apple Watch Ultra as a 24/7 daily driver for me just makes a little more sense. And when I explained this to my wife, she said, why wouldn't you wear the Apple Watch Ultra 2 if it will, automatically call 911 if something happens? And I was like, yeah, you're right. All right, guys, stay safe, and I will see you out on the trails.